Hello, ladies. I have had some requests to show you guys again how to make some of the projects that we made in our stamp camp when I was in Arizona. So this is going to be the first video of 6, going over and teaching you how to make all of the projects that we made in our stamp camp. This, like I said, is the first project. It is a little chocolate holder, holds a Hershey Kiss. It will actually hold a gift card as well. So let's get started. The supplies that you will need is a 5x5 sheet of paper. In this case, I used Whisper White. You will need a scrap piece of Night of Navy, scrap piece of Tip Top Taupe, a scrap piece of white, Whisper White, cardstock. You will need a 1.5 by 2.5 piece of Designer Series paper, and another piece of 2.25 by 3.5 Designer Series paper. You will also need 3 little pearls for your flowers. I used this stamp set, Trust God. We're using the God Bless You right here at the bottom. Night of Navy ink. And of course, the star of the show, your envelope punch board, which is basically what the whole class was surrounded around, projects using the envelope punch board in different ways than what it was intended, which is to make an envelope. So first, we're going to start with our 5x5 piece of paper. You're going to put it in the envelope punch board. You're going to start by lining it up at the number 2. You're going to punch and score. You're going to flip your paper. You are going to line it up at 3, or the score line will be lined up at this tick mark. That's kind of your double check that you're in the right spot. You're going to punch and score. You're going to flip again, go back to 2, or make sure that your tick mark here is lined up with your score line. You're going to punch and score, flip one more time, go back to 3, again making sure that your score line is lined up, and you're going to punch. This time you are not going to score, because we would like the piece, the back piece right here, to not have a score line in it. So we're done with the punch board at this point. Oh, actually we're not. Sorry about that. I'm going to round all the edges. That is actually optional. You do not have to do that if you choose not to. But in the front here, you're just going to line your piece of paper up into the hole that's there and punch, flip, and do all 4 sides. Like I said, this is optional. I prefer how the scalloped or the rounded edges look. So next we will assemble our little envelope. So first we're going to flip this up, which is the bottom piece. And for this you can use snail, it's fine. You're going to put glue on both sides of this little flap. And then one side's going to come over. And then this side, we are going to use sticky strip, fast fuse, tear tape, any of those things will work because we're using cardstock. We need it to be a little bit stronger to adhere and stay closed. Otherwise, once you get your candy in there, it will pop off. So looking at it straight up and down, to the left side, this is where you're going to apply your sticky strip. You're going to take that off, and then you're going to glue that together. So now you have your piece all assembled and ready to decorate. Basically, how I accomplished getting this designer series paper, I just flipped it in there. Of course, it's square, or rectangle it was, but all you're going to do is apply sticky strip to the back of the piece, put it in there, just so your top is like that, and then you're just going to cut around and using the actual envelope that we have as kind of your guide or template. If you're like me and somewhat of a perfectionist, you can use a little piece of sandpaper to just kind of go over the edges to smooth it out so your cut doesn't look as rough. Oops. So next what we will do is we will apply sticky strip to a piece that's going to go on the front. And that's just going to go right here. The piece should be a little tiny bit bigger than your piece, and that's just, you don't always make your envelope the same every time. So just turn it over and cut off any excess that is on the paper. So now we're at this point. What we will do next is stamp our little piece. God bless you. So you will need to mount that on a clear block if that's the stamp set that you have. We'll ink this up and stamp this. And then we will punch this out using the oval punch. Next, we will stamp our scallop oval punch in Tip Top Taupe. You need to punch that out. And why do we have the Tip Top Taupe? We're going to punch out just the leaf. This is the Bird Builder punch. And all we're using today on this is the leaf. So this gets a Stampin' Dimensional and gets attached. Oh, actually, let's wait for that. Oh, actually, no. We are going to do the Stampin' Dimensional. It's the next piece that we're going to wait. This piece, you don't need this long stem, so if you just cut, that should be plenty for what we're doing. Next, we will use the Petite Flower Punch. We're going to punch out 3 Night of Navy flowers. And then I took the small pearls and I applied them to the center of each flower. I use my paper piercer to kind of pick it up and apply to the center. It's easier for me that way, as the glue should already be attached to the back of the flowers. So on the flowers, one of them we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals on, and the other two just use glue dots. Or I'm using mini glue dots in this case. So I'll get those all ready. So we can assemble. I don't know if you guys have, well, some of you used this, some of you did not like this step in the class, but I think this is the most fabulous stuff, so you're going to see me use it quite a bit. So this is the metallic thread, and I cut a big piece. So basically, as you can see in my sample, I used some just as kind of a background, and how I did that was I just kind of gathered it. I just used basically 4 loops, and then what I do is I use a glue dot to basically gather all my pieces, and I just apply it right to the glue dot. And then you can use your paper piercer to pick that all up and basically put that on back of the piece that you stamped. Now, if there are pieces that you do not want, like I do not want this piece, we are just going to cut that off. Or if there's pieces which you'd rather have smaller, then you can gather it and apply another glue dot, and it will stay in place. So I'm just going to put a glue dot right here. So now that is gathered kind of in the place that I want it. At this point, we're done. So then you can attach your Stampin' Dimensional. And then you can apply that right to the front, centering it. So what I did is I put the flower with the Stampin' Dimensional at the corner here at the top. And then I applied one that had a glue dot right next to it. And then the other flower with the glue dot goes down here at the bottom. Your leaf can go right there in between the 2 flowers, and then you can assemble with your piece of candy and give to somebody special. And that will have it. That is the first project. I said like 1 of 6. I'm going to go over all the projects that we did at the stamp camp so you guys can replicate if you want and have the dimensions. If you have any questions, you can always contact me. My email address, as most of you know, is jellolane71@gmail.com. So please, like I said, if you have any questions or need any additional help, please email me or contact me.